Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us. Once again, we're keeping up. It's Championship preview and predictions time for round 17. Thick and fast, crazy schedule, whatever you want to say. We're managing to stick with the Championship and round 17. 3 more to go before we get to Christmas time. And everything is starting to shake out in the table. Let me know if you can see me, hear me loudly and clearly. Come and join in and give me your predictions. We'll go through all 12 games, game by game. If you're watching after the fact, you can still get involved in the comments with your predictions. It's all a bit of fun, and it gives us a little bit of a heads up on what is going to be happening in this latest round of games. Before we get to the action, let me just do a couple of little plugs. As this is the preview show, we need to say thank you to the Donovan brothers in loving memory of Michael Donovan of South East London, a lifelong Millwall fan and admirer of this show. Thank you to the Donovan brothers who sponsor each and every one of our preview shows. In terms of my plugs, if you look along the bottom right now, you'll see that you can support via Super Chat. As we speak, you can subscribe over on Patreon, sign up there. You can go to the Teespring shop and get yourself some merchandise. And being you are watching live, we can give you the Teesprings code live at the checkout. You get 10% discount on all of the stuff there on the channel. That's all underneath the video on YouTube here. But it is absolutely free and very much advised to like the video, subscribe. But the most important thing, get in those comments and help me out with the predictions. Not the easiest job. And I always get my feet held to the fire whenever I predict someone to win and they lose, or vice versa. No one gives me any credit when I get it right, which is rare, obviously. But hey, it's all about the discussion. It's all about the, just keeping up with everything whilst we are doing these predictions. Shall we get into it then and have a look at this latest round? Another Tuesday, Wednesday job, another 6 on a Tuesday, 6 on a Wednesday in terms of the fixtures. So remember, on the channel, we will be back here in this slot over the next 2 days as well, reviewing these games. The Tuesday games we'll review on Wednesday at 1 p.m. The Wednesday games we'll review on Thursday at 1 p.m. There you go. Figure it out in the end, won't I? So on Tuesday night, we have Coventry City versus Luton, Huddersfield Town versus Sheffield Wednesday, Millwall versus QPR, Stoke City versus Cardiff, Swansea City versus Bournemouth, Watford versus Rotherham. And then on Wednesday is Preston versus Borough, Barnsley versus Wycombe, Brentford versus Derby, Bristol City versus Blackburn, Norwich versus Forest, and Reading versus Birmingham City. Let's get on through this. And we always do it the same way, top to bottom. Don't complain if your team isn't soon enough into the show. They need to get higher up in the table, don't they? So our league leaders are Norwich, and they will be taking on Forest at home on Wednesday evening. Please get your predictions in via the comments for this one. If we did it just on the league table, we'd stop right there and we'd give Norwich the win, wouldn't we? If we did it on form, we'd also stop right there and give Norwich the win. Look at that. Forest, 4 defeats in the last 5, just a draw in the other one. So 1 point from the last 15. Norwich, by contrast, have got 10 points from the last 15. So you can see how the season's going for these two clubs. However, it's the Championship, so it won't be that straightforward, will it? Remember, Chris Hughton is an ex-Norwich manager visiting Carrow Road again with a different club. And there is some kind of a sense with the Forest squad that they're massively underachieving given the resources at their disposal. And at some point, when Chris Hughton gets everything settled down, they will slowly, steadily, but surely move up the table. That's the kind of likely scenario. There's obviously the doomsday scenario for Forest fans that that does not happen and they stay down there. And it's a difficult run of games for Forest, but there's a lot of quality in that team. But speaking of a lot of quality, Norwich have done a really, really decent job, actually, in negating this latest injury crisis. And it feels like they've come out the other end of it. It's a bit like COVID, isn't it? Norwich's injuries and us finally getting a vaccine. Norwich now have a lot of decent players actually coming back into training, ready to go. I think Hugill, Dowell and Cantwell all at once came back to training. So maybe over the next few games, we'll see them coming in on the bench. I think where they were worst affected was the games against Coventry and Luton. But again, at the weekend, Pukki came back. Buendia with him. It's only really the big miss now is Krill in goal. I think they can pretty much absorb everything else. And they've got such excellent squad that I don't think they'll have too much problem doing that moving forward now, especially with others coming back. There's the tail of the tape. What Norwich are doing brilliantly well this season is winning tight games, isn't it? Look at that late one against Wycombe there down the bottom, late equaliser against Brentford, getting past Swansea late on in that one. Borough winning by 1, surviving a penalty. Stoke surviving the comeback there, despite the fact they were 3-0 up. And again at Sheffield Wednesday, late turnaround in that one. So either their game management is very good or the opposite. Their game management isn't very good, but they've just got really good players and pattern of play, and they just kind of find a way in the end, don't they? The same cannot be said for Forest, who are just not finding a way at the moment. But we said about the fixtures. I mean, look at it. Bournemouth, Swansea, Watford, Reading, now Norwich, and then Brentford. What a heinous run of games that will be for Forest. Let's have a look here. 1-1, says Carl. 2-0. Did I get the cake? Not yet. Is it on its way? Nice one. I haven't checked the mail, to be honest. So 2-1 Norwich. Norwich win to 0. 2-0. 1-0 Norwich. So it looks like you guys are saying Forest aren't going to score and Norwich are going to win, which is fairly well likely in this one. I do think Forest will be fine in the end, but they might have to be a bit patient, the Forest fans, and it might be closer to the end of the season that they finally pull away, if indeed they do. Let's go for a home win in that one. Norwich to beat Forest tomorrow night. Right, where are we going next? We are going to second place Bournemouth, who we did on the watch along on Friday night, and they imperiously battered Barnsley, didn't they? Excellent performance by Bournemouth, that one, in the wind and the rain and the snow. And well, there wasn't any snow. I don't know why I'm saying that, but you know what I mean. But look at this one. Swansea versus Bournemouth. This is very interesting, isn't it? I've been banging on about the parachute cartel. Who can challenge Norwich, Watford and Bournemouth this season? Well, here's a team that probably can in Swansea. Only 3 defeats all season. We know they've got a very good defence. We know they had a very good manager. They're very well organised and a nice pattern of play. Maybe they lack a real goal getter, out and out 15, 20 goal a season striker. But maybe A will get that number in the end, and maybe they can share the goals around. You don't always need one player to score all the goals. Bournemouth are a member of the parachute cartel, and having drawn and lost the game, same as Norwich, but without the injury crisis that Norwich had. Bournemouth had that great win against Barnsley this past weekend. Let's have a look at the recent results. So for Swansea, just that defeat away at Borough and defeat away at Norwich. So they've lost away games to teams that are up there and playing well at home. Look, they're excellent. Just Pulis' Swansea getting something there. 4 wins in the last 5. For Bournemouth, well, they had a 3-game streak. Then they drew at Rotherham. Then they lost at home to Preston, and then they win 4-0. So somewhat erratic, somewhat all over the place. Is that fair to say? I wonder. Tricky one to call this, isn't it? Let's just have a look at the away form in isolation for Bournemouth. Not terrible. 3, 6, 8 points in 5. And as long as you can back that up with good home form, that's absolutely fine, isn't it? Tricky. Good attacking players for Bournemouth. Edges the dugouts, but then Bournemouth have got the better squad, haven't they? Very hard one to call. Let's see what you guys are saying. 2-1 Swansea, says Hip. 1-0 Swansea, 0-0 score draw. 2-1 Swans, 2-1 Swans. Let me sit on the fence here. I'll go for a draw. I just think when I said those words there, a good attack against a good defence, that kind of made my mind up a little bit. So I'll go for the draw, Swansea and Bournemouth to share the points over in Wales. Next one up is going to be Reading versus Burnley. Not Burnley, you idiot. Birmingham. I wrote BIR on my pad. There you go. What a wall I am. Get your predictions in for this one. Reading versus Birmingham. This one is tomorrow night. Another Wednesday night game. I am impressed with how Reading have come back after that 4-game losing streak. I've said a few times over the past weekend, we didn't really know anything about them until this recent games because they'd had the winning streak at the start of the season, then the losing streak. And now I think we've got a bit more of an idea that they're probably quite a good side, actually. And Paunovic is doing a decent job. They've got good attacking players. And there's less of a sense that they're blagging their way up the league where maybe in some of those earlier games, they were really scraping in tight games. And we found that a bit more confusing than when someone like Norwich wins a load of tight games, because Norwich have got really good players, don't you? Whereas Reading have been down the table a fair bit in recent seasons. Birmingham, well, I actually quite like the... didn't they announce yesterday that they're closing down their academy? Never good to hear, is it? I actually quite like a number of the Birmingham players. So if Karanka can make this a little bit less of a dirge, and already 7 draws in 16 games and only 12 goals, so you can see what the tactic is, then I think there is a good upside. They did get a win at the weekend, and they got that at Bristol City, in fact. So, Bristol City have been up the table. I just have the feeling in this one that if Birmingham do sit back, that the front four of Reading now with Zhao scoring really well, Maite, who's always been a good player in this division, hasn't he? Elise and who's the other one? Ajari. It's really good. It is decent. So I think I'm going to go for a Reading home victory in this one. Ian says Reading 1, Blues 0, 1-1 says Hip. Michael Elise is going to be class. I think he nearly already is, Adam, isn't he? Excellent player. 3-0, 1-0, 2-0, 2-0, 1-0. So, look, again, very similar to the Norwich and Forest game. You guys don't see the away team scoring, do you? So therein lies the big issue. And if the pressure can build, then you would think with those attacking players. Remember, John Swift back by Christmas, we think, as well. Could be an interesting season at Reading, couldn't it? Let's move on. And it is Stoke versus Cardiff in the season of the grind. We get a few of these every game week, don't we? So this one is Michael O'Neill versus Neil Harris. Could be attritional, let's just say. Stoke in good form, aren't they? Look, 10 points in the last 5. Back-to-back wins. That's been my criticism of Stoke a fair bit, that they're nice and steady, but haven't managed to sort of win 3 and draw 1 in 4. There's always been a defeat coming. I have said for the longest time, though, in the end, they will see off less consistent teams. And Michael O'Neill's just done an excellent job, hasn't he? Coming up, well, I think just over a year in charge now. He came in the second international break last season with Stoke, well down the bottom of the table. Cardiff have turned it around very nicely, haven't they? Look at that. 3 wins on the bounce. And I believe, let me see if I can remember all of these. We'll bring the results up. There's a 4-0, a 3-0, and then an away win at Watford. Watford have been superb at home, haven't they? So, yeah, look at Cardiff's last 3 games. Luton, Huddersfield, okay, maybe not top 8 teams there. However, away win at Watford is an excellent result in that one. Stoke, as I said, well, okay, look, maybe I'm a bit wrong there. There is 2 sets of back-to-back wins, but the point is, leading into that, it was a little bit spotty, wasn't it? But actually, look at those last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The last 10 games, they've won 6 and drawn 1. So that's 19 points, isn't it? So nearly hitting 2 points per game over the 10-game run. I suppose they'll look at the weekend. And if you're planning out this week, you want your 4 points from your 2 games. And I suspect you'll take 1 against Cardiff to then get 3 against Derby, who are lower down in the table. Let's see what you guys think. Amit says, I've been saying we aren't ready for promotion this season, but this team has an undeniable winning mentality despite all the injuries and youth players. Daring to believe. When you say ready for promotion, you mean to keep up the challenge, or if you did go up, it would go south? I definitely think they're, I think with the parachute money as well and what that opens up in terms of FFP, it is a little bit now would be a very, very good time. I know it's Bet365 money there, but it's the 3rd year of the parachutes, isn't it, for Stoke? So, good manager as well, Michael O'Neill. John Swift may not be back in the team. Yeah, I think they'll drip him in. I think that's a nice advantage that Paunovic has got, is stick him on the bench. As and where you need him, you'll use him. Believe me, player that good. Eon, if I'm getting the name right there, says 4-1. I think that might be a Swansea fan. 2-2, 2-2, score, draw. Stoke starting to replicate the Prem times. 1-0 Cardiff, 3-2 Stoke. Okay. It's a hard one to call, isn't it? I'm going to go for a Stoke home win, I think, even though Cardiff are in excellent form. I just fancy Stoke. I don't know for what reason. Leeds obviously benefited from not going. Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? Because if you can keep a team together and financially you're going to be okay and not mess with stuff, and you don't lose star players that disproportionately negatively affect your team, then staying down an extra season can help. Yes, it can. But this is sport, isn't it? Win what's put in front of you. Go for it, and they could do it this season, couldn't they? Right, where are we going next? We're going Brentford versus Derby County. Derby, who finally got a victory at Millwall at the weekend, didn't they? But off they go to Brentford tomorrow night. At the moment, Brentford away is a far more difficult game than Millwall away is, isn't it? If we look at the league tables there, you'll see Brentford are equal the form team in the league with Blackburn, who they drew with at the weekend and probably should have beaten because they were playing against 10 men. But Blackburn are in equally as good form as Brentford. So it is what it is. Get your predictions in for this one. Brentford versus Derby. So nice little splurge of points, 11 in the last 5 for Brentford. And they've moved from a sort of mid-table-ish position with too many draws to into the playoffs, where we really expected them to be, honestly, didn't we? For Derby, well, I don't really need to talk about Derby. It's just been hopeless, hasn't it? Is there some signs of some stability coming now? Let's argue there is, for the sake of it, that in the past 3 games, draw, win. Yes, we know that the first 2 games were home draws against 2 teams promoted from League One last season, and the win was against a stuttering Millwall who are just not scoring at the moment. So if we're arguing against it, that's what we'd say. But if we're arguing for it, you'd go, look, 4 straight defeats to 5 points in the next 3 is an improvement. Look at Brentford. They have not lost a game now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. An away defeat at Stoke, the last one. And in those 9 games, they have played Norwich, Swansea, Borough in good form, and Blackburn in good form. Are they a little bit flat track bully at the moment? Because they're beating, well, Luton, Barnsley, QPR and Rotherham, who are Luton still in the top half? But none of them are top 10 teams at the moment, are they? And they're drawing the other games, which would lead you to believe, if they are a bit flat track bully, that they will probably beat Derby in this game. So, excuse me. I will go for a home win and we'll see what you guys are saying. A good attempt, pronounced Johan. Sorry, is that Welsh? I'm struggling with that one. My apologies, Johan. Brentford 1-0, Brentford 4-0, 4-0, 3-0. Feel like Derby's win against Millwall was a slice of luck against a team in a bad moment. Quite possibly, Alex. Scoring draw, 5-0, 3-0. Brentford win. There we go at last. The Derby are due a win at Brentford. 2-1 to the Rams. Banker home win. Mind you, I said that for Saturday. There you go, Chris. Hey, happens to the best of us. Well, at least we got one Derby prediction in there from Rampant Ram. But I've gone for a home win. Tonight, I will be in the ground at Watford versus Rotherham. Good bit of news. That accreditation came through yesterday. So I'm going to do a vlog. I'm not going to do the traditional I've just witnessed video. So I'll do a vlog, but I will speak through the game. But I should be able to speak to Ivic and Warren in the press conference at the end. So I want to get that done at the end. So we'll do a vlog on that, but very, very much looking forward to that. I have also written an article about Paul Warren and about Rotherham, which I've tweeted out this morning as part of my work at this game. So do check that out and now get your predictions in for Watford versus Rotherham. We mentioned Watford in dispatches earlier, didn't we? In that they lost at home to Cardiff at the weekend, their excellent home record. You can see there, though, just too many draws, isn't it? It's blindingly obvious there that they've only actually got 6 points in the last 5. And when you consider that there's 10s and 11s up there, that you are going to drop down the table a little bit there, aren't you? But the sense is that they're now moving forward. Watford, Ivic ball is starting to make more sense. And it feels a little bit less like, let's just get really organised and be really tight. And they're starting to play a little bit more now. And down the bottom there, Rotherham, not so good indeed. Look, Rotherham, 4 defeats in the last 5 for them. And defence is starting to creak, isn't it? Look, 3 for Cov, 2 for Brentford, 2 for Bournemouth, 3 for QPR. So that is 10 goals conceded in the last 4. So Watford are very draw heavy. Rotherham are a little bit leaky. What did Ian say there in the chat? Ian, Matic out 3 months. Oh dear. Joins Ogbenny, McDonald, Sadlier, 4-0 Watford. Ian, I quoted you in my article. Go and check it out. I hope you don't mind. When I mention my well-balanced Rotherham friend, that's you. So I hope you don't mind me quoting you in that one. But Ian, you are my friend, but your team's probably going to lose tonight. I'm going to go for a Watford home win in this one. It's just one of these year one parachute teams against the League One team in a bad moment at the Premier League, ex-Premier League team's ground. It feels a lot like a home win, doesn't it? Let's have a look here. Watford 3-1. Watford 6-1. Deary me. 0-0. 3-0. 3-0. Neil says, give Rooney some credit. Were you literally not watching about 5 minutes ago where we all gave Rooney some credit for a pickup and getting 2 draws and a win? I don't know what to say. I did. Spool back and listen, my friend. 1-1 says Don. Watford to score after being subpar all game. Interesting. 2-1, a lot more competitive than people will think, but Watford will need to bounce back. Will you interview Ben Foster? We probably won't get. I'll be able to go into the manager's press conference at the end, but they don't, because of COVID at the moment, they don't do huddles or right holders interviews. Another banker home. You will not witness Rotherham's third championship away win in 56 or whatever it is. Yeah, goodness me. Under Warren, I think I did it. It's 2 wins in 43 or something like that. Rampant Ram says 1-0 to Watford. Right. Next one, Bristol City versus Blackburn. We've mentioned already Blackburn's excellent form. Bristol City have been pretty decent all season, but managed to drop out of the top 6 with 2 defeats in the last 3. And we said at the weekend, didn't we, that it was the wrong weekend to drop points, because if you look at the top 5 there, they all won on the same game week, which is obviously means that Brentford and Watford and Bristol City all sort of slipped because of that. Everyone else moved up 3 points. Rarity that we get a blob of green W's that big. It's a tight one to call, isn't it? 8th versus 9th. On form, you'd back Blackburn with their 11 points in the past 5 games. However, Bristol City are one I don't like to back against because they're a little bit unpredictable. When I think they're going to come a cropper, they don't. It's what tends to happen with me and Bristol City. Get your predictions in for this one in the comments. Bristol City versus Blackburn. Let's look at the tail of the tape. And it's very good for Blackburn recently, isn't it? Draw, win, draw, win, 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 draw. So that is over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 15 points in 7. That's really, really impressive, isn't it? From Blackburn. Bristol City, well, they just confuse me, don't they? I mean, if they do lose, it won't be in the same way that Birmingham did it, sitting back and scoring from a set play late on. I do very much like Blackburn's attacking players in terms of Armstrong, obviously at the top of the scorers charts, and Dolan and Elliott and Gallagher and Brereton. Do you know what? I haven't gone for an away win all on my sheet at all. In fact, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 home wins. So I'm going to go for an away win to balance up my card. Apologies to Bristol City fans for that one. Let's have a look and see what you guys are saying. Jack says 1-1. Josh, confident as ever, says 4-0 Blackburn. City sliding towards the bottom half. We can't defend. Blackburn can attack. If you're right, Josh, that's not a good combination, is it? Well, we do know. I'll bow to your superior knowledge on Bristol City, but we do know that Blackburn can attack. I think they're joint top scorers with Bournemouth, aren't they? 0-2. Yes, Neil heard Forrester up for sale. The Athletic doing a good piece on that. Chris, sole away win. There we go. 1-0 Blackburn, 3-0 Blackburn, 2-1 Bristol City, 2-1 Bristol City, 2-1 Blackburn. Very impressed with Blackburn's transition of only beating the bottom half clubs to being compared. There you go. A man after my own heart there, Alex. I was saying exactly the same thing a few weeks ago. Totally agree. 3-0 City on winning convincingly, and Blackburn to teach Holden a lesson. Right, next one is number 8. Is Preston versus Borough. Get your predictions in. One very consistent team against one very erratic team. I think you can probably guess which is which. Although looking at Borough's last 5, how can I call them consistent? There you go. It's Warnock, isn't it? So this one is tomorrow night. And it is at Preston. Predictions in Preston versus Borough. I mean, look at it. Borough lost one, lost. Preston, one lost, one drawn. And they could have literally won, drawn, or lost against Wycombe in the last 10 minutes at the weekend, couldn't they? Just very, very confused. I think Pearson got a bad injury, didn't he, for Preston? I was going to say, if he returns and plays most of the games, that'll probably necessitate a decent run for Preston, but not quite. Borough are, well, they're odd, actually, because, I mean, who have they lost against in those 3 games? Yes, Stoke and Norwich, I can see that one, and the Huddersfield one was a bit of a weird one. And they've been so consistent and so tight up until then. To be fair, they're still not conceding many goals outside of that strange Huddersfield game. Whereas Preston, I mean, just look at the inconsistency. Win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, draw. Hang on, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, draw. That sounds like a win if you keep going with that pattern. Remember doing those maths puzzles in primary school. I think Warnock's got enough to win this one. I just think Warnock will take one look at an inconsistent Preston team and know how to beat them. So I am going to go for an away victory in this one. Let me know what you guys are thinking. 0-0, says Johan. 1-1, 0-0. Lots of draws in this one. 0-0. Got a feeling both teams try and go back to basics. Perhaps, yeah. 2-1 Borough. Preston 0-1. Warnock side scoring. We just love it. Love it. That would be beautiful. 0-0 or 1-1. Preston need to get. Yes, a few people have raised this, Jack, about the contracts. It's going to be a busy December there, isn't it? Ian. Oh, nice. A very fair and well-balanced article, Ben. Thanks for that. We are what we are at the end of the day. Having a viable team to support is paramount instead of throwing money at impossible dream. Yes, and I hope you don't mind me mentioning your comments at the weekend. That just sparked off what I was going to write there. Check that out on Twitter. I've tweeted that article about Paul Warne. I think I've tried to be fair. I like Paul Warne, actually. I've met him. He's a lovely chap. However, it's a difficult old job, isn't it? A League One promoted team in the Championship. Where, I ask, are we going next? We're going to do Luton, who go to Coventry. Oh, good luck calling this one. So it is at Coventry, and the countdown says 6 hours away. So it is most definitely tonight. So Coventry versus Luton. Get your predictions in. Basically, here we have 2 teams. Luton, who are pretty good at winning winnable games and staying in the top half. Already 6 victories for them. But then we have Coventry as well, who are in a good little moment. I know you're bored of me telling you, but I did predict, looking at the fixtures after the international break, they would have a little surge. And they have had a little surge of for 9 points in 5, which is way above relegation safety form, isn't it? That has put a 6-point gap between Cov and the relegation zone. And it does draw QPR down into a sort of bottom 7, as opposed to, we'd had for ages a bottom 6 with the 3 big clubs down there, Wednesday, Derby and Forest, with the 3 promoted clubs from last season. So if you're particularly one of these ex-League One clubs, you want as many teams in this as you possibly can drag in. So these teams will hope they can drag people like QPR, who are just above it on 3 straight defeats, into the mire. Recently, yeah, as I said for Cov, I think the fixtures were going to get easier. And then you got this run of sort of Birmingham, Cardiff, Norwich with the injury crisis, then Derby, then Rotherham, then Luton, and then Wycombe. So there was a sense that a pickup was going to happen. Luton are good, aren't they? They've got a pattern of play that sort of 16 or 18 of the squad can flit in and out of. And like I say, they do have a habit of when there's a chance of winning, getting the win there. At Wednesday, you can see Rotherham and taking advantage of Norwich. So if I'm right, Luton won't win this because Coventry are in a good moment and Luton take advantage of teams that aren't. So maybe I need to go for a Coventry win with that being said. But I just think Luton are, they punch their weight, don't they? I think I'll go for a draw in this one. Coventry and Luton to draw. Let's see what you guys are saying. 2-2, big fan of Luton. Coventry don't lose many. Cov 2-1, tails up. Hatters 2-1, Hatters 2-0. Draw there. Luton now to get a point against the bottom half. Cov never give up. Home win for Cov. Luton win 1-0. 3-2 Cov. Think Coventry are better than the table suggests. That's what I was saying at the international break. Am I allowed to read that out? Homeless 0. Armpits of Britain. He thinks Luton are going to win. There you go. 2-1 Cov, says Will. I've gone for a draw in that. Fairly mixed in that one. Difficult one to call, I think. That one of all of these fixtures. Well, it's a championship. They're all hard to call. That's why we make such buffoons of ourselves trying to do this every game week. But we love it. Okay, good luck with this one as well. It is Huddersfield, free-flowing Carlos Corberon's Huddersfield versus Tony Pulis and Sheffield Wednesday. Huddersfield v Sheffield Wednesday. That is tonight. And I would love to hear your predictions on that. I very much like Huddersfield and I like the way we play. However, I'm never sure whether they're going to win, lose or draw. When it clicks, they win and they score lovely goals. When it doesn't, they don't. So they're a little less easy to sort of read than Sheffield Wednesday, who we know exactly what Sheffield Wednesday are going to do. And yes, Pulis hasn't got a win yet, but there's been a couple of mitigating factors. I think they're quite unlucky against Norwich with the late turnaround and a sort of couple of refereeing calls waved away. Although they did get away with one in the Reading game, didn't they? Reading could have had at least one or two penalties at the end of that game. But there was red cards in the game against Reading for Wednesday players and the game against Preston. This is tricky. I think Pulis could do it, actually. Will Corberon walk right into a Tony Pulis trap is what I'm wondering. Who do Huddersfield actually beat? See, they have beaten a pragmatic team there in Borough, but that was a weird game, wasn't it? Where Borough seemed to be competitive and then just throw it away each time they scored, didn't they? Go on. Let's go for an away win. I'm just trying to even up my card here. Let's go for Pulis' first win, which will obviously be 1-0, won't it? With, I don't know, Callum Patterson scoring off his backside from a corner or something aesthetically not very pleasing like that. Josh says Owls 3-0. A draw, says Chris. Terriers 3, Wednesday 1. Yorkshire Derby indeed. 0-2 Owls, 2-0 Owls. Very impressed with us under Pulis. He's finally against a team who isn't in the top 6. Feel like this is the game he needs to win to get the fans on board. I thought his interview after that Reading game was excellent as well in terms of getting the fans on board. 1-1. 0-1 Wednesday, 2-0 Huds. 1-0 Wednesday. Corberon doing a good job at Huddersfield with not a brilliant squad. Yeah, agreed with that. Wednesday struggled to defend in the last 10 to 15 minutes, especially if they're defending a lead, as you saw against Norwich. But to be fair, that is Norwich, yeah, indeed. Huddersfield 2-1 to QPR forever makes it look like a Sunday League team, although that's not hard to do at the moment. 0-0, says Will. Pulis to S House, a 1-0 win. Could we get a Warnock one and a Pulis one on the same game round, I wonder. Right, Millwall have slid down the table, haven't they? They're on a horrible run. Millwall, and they play QPR tonight. It is at Millwall, isn't it? 14th versus 18th in this one. And, well, we've said it 1,000 times, haven't we? Millwall are just not scoring, ergo just not winning at the moment. I think since that Preston game when Zahor came in and got his goal, they just haven't done anything since then. And then when the draws turn into defeat is when worry starts to accrue, doesn't it? Get your predictions in. Millwall versus QPR. That said, 3 straight defeats for Rangers, who were on good form before that, weren't they? I think they had 10 points in 5 before that one. So something's got to give, unless we get an unhelpful draw in this one. Yeah, I was right on Millwall there. A huge run of draws there. 5 draws in a row. That's so rowett, isn't it? And then losing to Blackburn. Well, fine, they're on form, but Derby aren't, for goodness sake. And they get the away win, Derby at Millwall over this past weekend. So I know Rowett is tweaking and trying all sorts of different things, but up top particularly, but none of it's working. Then again, with Rangers, I mean, Bright Samuel's been, as Josh, I'll come on to your comments in a sec, has pointed out, has been a really, really bright spark. I don't know. Tricky one to call. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Chris is on the Rowett out bus again. Rob's gone 4-0 Millwall at 50-1. How much you put on, Rob? That sounds fun to me if you're winning that one. 2-0, says Josh. I think Rangers have been unfortunate in recent fixtures. Again, they battered us, got nothing. Yeah, they did play well at Brentford. We did that on the watch along, didn't we? Asai Samuel does look good. 1-1, both teams like a draw. 3-3 was a thriller towards the end of last season, says Johan. 1-1, Rangers 2-1, 1-1, 1-0, Rangers 1-1, 1-1. Backs to the wall, got to go for a home win, maybe a toxic atmosphere. QPR 2-0 there. Millwall 1-0 with teams like Wednesday Forest, Everton, second half season. QPR could do a Hull. Wow. Especially if they sell Chair and or Samuel. QPR forever, not confident at all tonight. Lose tonight, the owners need to go and take Warburton with them. Goodness me. There you go. We've got some people under pressure. I'm going to go for a draw in this one. And please all forgive me. I've been asked a few times. I'm not going to be talking about minute silence, discrimination, Black Lives Matter, taking knee. I'm just not going to talk about it. I'm so sorry. I've talked about a couple of political things on the channel, and all that's happened has just been so negative in the comments, and no one seems to be listening to each other. People on different sides. People are calling each other names in my comments, and that's not why I set the channel up. And until we as a society are able to debate things about discrimination in a reasoned and balanced way where we listen to the other side, stop making assumptions and stop calling them names, I'm afraid, guys, I'm going to leave it. I have been asked by a few people to talk about that, but I'm just not going to, I'm afraid. So I hope you're all okay with that. I know some people will say, oh, Ben, you wimp or whatever. I don't care. I'm here to talk about the football, and I've tried to talk about the political side before, and it hasn't ended well, let's just say. And I've tried to call it right down the middle as well. And, you know, I get called names. People are calling each other names in my comments, and it's just like, no, thanks. Thank you for the support on that one. Fair play. I'm happy to explain it from your perspective. I think we understand Longster, but the problem is that the people that don't agree on the one side just call the other side names, and the people that don't agree on the other call the other side names, and it's all very, very unseemly, isn't it? You'll always get abuse when you go political because nobody agrees, and we are petulant children. There you go. No room for politics in football. Sport brings us together. Completely agree. So thanks for the support on that, guys. Because the people that have asked me, I have commented them back and said, look, I'm not going to be talking about it. I talked about the flag going over Burnley with the Manchester City game, and I got called names then. And I talked about when the Soccer Saturday lads all got moved on at the same time, and it just didn't go well. Politics and sports don't go together. There you go. Thank you, guys. Thank you very, very much. And look, if you all disagreed with me, I would be okay. But it's nice that you're being supportive there. Right, who is the last game? It's got to be Barnsley, fresh from their hiding against Bournemouth. Please leave your politics at the door. Comment of the day, Joseph. Comment of the day, my friend. Barnsley versus Wycombe. And as I say, Barnsley fresh from a chasing against Bournemouth on Friday night on the watch along. That said, it was pretty much the worst case scenario, wasn't it, in that game where Barnsley just kept coming forward and then Bournemouth just picked them off. So where is this one? It's at Oakwell again. Wycombe, I keep using the word competitive, but competitive teams do win games in the end, and they were close against Preston, but they still could have gone under with a couple of Preston chances as well after the equaliser did indeed go in. So, I mean, look, Wycombe have only lost 2 games in the last 9, which is pretty impressive. And considering they'd lost 7 on the bounce to start the season, you'd take that without the victories, wouldn't you? So, Barnsley are as spotty as Warnock's Borough there. Look, 1-1 loss, 1-1 loss, 1 lost. Dear oh me. Let's have a read of some of your comments here. Woodrow first scorer. There you go. If Barnsley aren't at the races and don't concede mistakes, then they should win comfortably. 2-2. Bits is here, but he's missed most of the stream. There we go. Let me just scroll up a little bit here. Woodrow hat-trick. 3-0, says Josh. 2-1 Barnsley. 3-0 Barnsley. 2-1 Barnsley. 3-2 Barnsley. Our neighbours play some lovely football at times. Yes, indeed. 3-2 Barnsley again could be an entertaining. I'm going to go with you guys then, and I'm going to go for a home victory. Chris agrees. Johan is going for Wycombe there, and Ethan is. You can still, Bits is in the chat. You can still follow Bits' bet tonight. He has got one prepared for me. I was going to do a watch along of QPR and Millwall and QPR tonight, but because I'm now off to the Watford game, that won't be happening. So that's where we are with that. So Bits will, if you message Bits on here, he'll let you know what his bet is if you want to have a follow of that. But we will be doing Bristol City versus Blackburn tomorrow night. Right. Let's sum up my predictions here. Here is the summary. Norwich versus Forest, home win. Swansea versus Bournemouth, draw. Reading versus Birmingham, home win. Stoke versus Cardiff, home win. Brentford versus Derby, home win. Watford versus Rotherham, home win. Bristol City versus Blackburn, away. Preston versus Borough, away win. Coventry versus Luton, draw. Huddersfield Wednesday, away win. Millwall QPR, draw. Barnsley Wycombe, home win. That's what I am going for. You can see what happens in all of these games. I'll be back at 1 p.m. tomorrow, and we'll be doing the 6 games that are played tonight. And then I'll also be back at 1 p.m. on Thursday doing the Wednesday night games. Hell of all hells next week. We've got a 3-game week in the Premier League and in the Championship. So that one's going to be a lot of fun. Look out tonight. I'll do a couple of tweets and stuff from Watford and let you know what's going on there. And I'll do a vlog. I'll put that up sort of quite early tomorrow morning, just a match vlog. And I'll try and get into the press conference and ask a couple of questions. DM me if you'd like to hear from Mr. Warren or Mr. Ivic. Right. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. As ever, we need to say thank you to the Donovan brothers in loving memory of Michael of South East London, a lifelong Millwall fan and admirer of this show. Rest in peace, indeed, Michael. And thank you to the Donovan brothers for their kind and lovely gesture supporting the channel. As it says forever, scrolling along the bottom of the screen, support via Super Chat, Patreon, Teespring's store, buy some merchandise, enter the code LIVE at the checkout, get 10% discount on all of that good stuff. If you're still in the feed, please hit the thumbs up button. on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We are approaching 13,400 subscriptions, going rather well, but we need to keep it growing. Right. Thank you all, you lot. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support and on my refusal to get political on the channel today. That's much appreciated. And join me again later in the week. Plenty of stuff coming up. And with all of that being said, it is a big over and out. And I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I'll be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.